Feeling pain.
And with that sing along, we are now live. We are back for day 2 of NCAA week. By the way, shout out Golden Rule Movement. Just realized I'm wearing this. Shout out my buddy Dan Tommaso. Launched a wonderful nonprofit. Go to check it out, grm247.org. Follow them on social, grm24.7. Love what they're doing. My Basch Solutions team just built the website for them. Check it out. Cool stuff. Based in Rochester, New York. Love this hoodie. They just sent it to me yesterday. I didn't even get a chance to text him and say thank you yet. But what's better than a podcast shout out to say thank you?
Podcast shout out.
You want to shout out your apparel today?
Oh yeah, well I got an internet.
Go to intermatwrestle.com. Join the forums.
I have 1,000. I have 1,000 of these shirts. First of all, give me this microphone. I need to. Maybe
wait
I
a
have.
minute. You have that many shirts? Why are we not doing like a pick'em contest to win a shirt?
Nah, I'll send you a shirt. You want a shirt? I'll send you a shirt. That's the problem. I ain't. You think I want to go to the post office?
The apparel, I have people that both buy, want, whatever, Basch Solutions apparel. We do need Bash in the Brain apparel, by the way. We do.
Listen, I don't. Here's the thing about apparel. Everybody asks about apparel. I want a Matt Scout shirt. I want an Intermat thing. Let's do a Bash in the Brain. Here's the thing.
Brackets.
I don't care. I don't care about making money on a T-shirt, but I do want you to have them. I'm not going to the post office to mail you stuff. I'm not doing that. But we might have a solution. We might have a Bash solution.
I got a funny Bash solution.
What we need to do is get like an automated store up and running.
Yeah, apparel's tough. It's a great way to not only get support out there, it's great to further monetize things. Everybody wins, but it does add. Thankfully, my wife helps out with the Bash Solutions apparel because she's got a nice little process in place. It is a process, but it's worth it. All right, Willie. So today's show, just quick.
Oh, there's so much fodder, dude. We're so foddering it up.
By the way, one more quick housekeeping note. Subscribe everywhere you're listening to this. Subscribe. A Spotify subscriber yesterday said, "Hey, I do not miss a show, but it sounds like based on today's show, I missed some shows over the weekend." And I said, yes, live streams were on YouTube. The live streams Willie and I do here on out are probably going to be video only because they're just... If it's a Bash in the Brain, if it's a Baschamania, it's going on Spotify. It's going on Apple. It's going to be audio. The video streams are harder to put in podcast form, and I don't want to convolute the podcast feed with those streams. So, yeah, those are video. Little housekeeping fodder. Jason Bryant flying to Cleveland at 1:50 p.m. All right, one more shout out for Jason Bryant. Go get his guide. I think I saw an email that his guide is now out. No, Jay Hill, you cannot go cheap on the shirt quality. 100%. I consult a lot of businesses on apparel, and I say if you want people to throw it out, do cheap apparel. If you want people to wear it and support your brand, you have to do nice shirts.
Here's what's going to happen. And me and Bash been talking about this for a while, and especially I've been thinking about it for a couple years. With internet, I'm gonna eventually have some sort of online store. I don't know who's gonna be powered by either Rudis or Nike or Compound or somebody, but it's just gonna be a store on internet, and you can buy the apparel through there. They'll handle the shipping, they'll handle everything from A to Z. And as far as quality, I don't care about making. Whether I make $5 on a T-shirt or $1, I just want the people to have them if they want them. And so for me, because I don't care about the money, I want it to be quality. So it'll be quality. It'll be a quality product with no guarantee. You can get a good look at a butcher by sticking your head up something.
302B9. Only chuds use Spotify. Why use Spotify when you can watch these handsome faces talk wrestling? Number one, thank you for the kind words. Number two, Spotify does have video. But thank you for the kind words.
So much fodder, so much weather talk right now. I was talking to Snyder. I talked to Snyder, the assistant coach of Nebraska. I talk to him every morning. He drives. He lives in Omaha, and he drives to Lincoln. Every day back and forth. And so every day on the way to Lincoln, he has time to kill, and every day on the way back. So I talk to him every morning. He told me that Lincoln yesterday was -10, or a couple days ago was -10, and it is supposed to be 85 today. It changed like 100 degrees in a day or two.
A real quick cold front moved through the whole East Coast, moved through the country, really. So it's just real quick moving. I was just gonna. Oh, that I got more fodder, but that's
Real quick. We're gonna talk today. We're gonna do our all feel good team, guys. We're not like rooting. We're kind of rooting for. I don't really root for anything.
I do.
I know you do. I don't root for anything. I like to see kids do well. I like to see certain programs do well.
That's called
Um,
rooting.
no, I don't. I don't.
You're
root.
rooting for
I don't.
programs to do well. By the way, you can root for
No,
multiple
no, it's
people in the
not.
same bracket. You can root for multiple teams. Like you can root
No,
for multiple scenarios and be happy for the winner. Rooting does not mean
no.
isolation, like rooting for the Redskins.
Well, no, I know I can. I know I can. Like I know I'm not going to be arrested if I root for a team. I know I can.
You're just
I
worried
just
about the big J card. We get it. The big
No,
J
I'm
card.
not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
It's
That's
the big
not.
J card.
It's no, it's not. It's just not a fact. I don't. It's not in me when I'm watching a match. Um, I've known all these kids since they were young. I followed them. I I know. I know almost. I talk to almost every Division One coach. It's not in me to root. Now, if one of them happens to win, good. I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it. I talk to Snyder every day, but like really close with Nebraska, and I really like to see them have success. I really like Lehigh to have success. I really like certain athletes to have success, but I don't find myself rooting. Very, very rarely, very rarely do I find myself rooting, and so I don't know when we talk about this feel good team. Like I'll give you one right off the top of my head: Maximo Renteria from Oregon State. It's his final year. I was a really big fan of him in high school. He's a really great kid. I went out Pac-12s last year, talked to him a bit, interviewed him. Um, Great kid. I would like to see in his senior year him have success. That being said, if he's wrestling in the blood round against somebody, I'm not rooting. I probably like in my I don't have to tell myself not to root. In my gut, may the best man win. That being said, the feel good team, I would like it would be nice to me. It would be nice if some of them had a degree of success. So we're gonna do the feel good team. We're gonna do betting odds. I think we're gonna go over WrestleStat. Their brackets. They were happy. They were nice enough to send it to us. Um, and
And
there's
what they're
really interesting things. So I just 9 minutes in, these are the things we're going to go over today in the show.
Yeah, and the WrestleStat thing happened because I had asked them, like, I'd love to see a bracket of just who the head-to-head comparison is. So Dan put it together, and he said, here you go. This is, if WrestleStat was picking every match, here's what the formula says. There's some awesome picks in there that I agree with. There's also some hilarity. Willie, real quick, can I talk one piece of, we're not at NCAA's this week, and that does suck. But because of our relationships, we get sent pictures, we get sent items, and it's kind of the things little nuances of what you see if you go there. And while we're missing that this year, we need to be diligent to show what's still happening in Cleveland. Can I show you what's happening in Cleveland real quick?
This is a fodder of the year.
Can I show you? Now, guys, we
it.
think we figured out switching to the computer screen. So let's see here. Yes, we did. Look at that, guys. All right, so this is in Cleveland at the hotel. This is a brutal choice for a practice mat. Brutal choice. Cleveland State mats. Brutal. And I do need to figure out how to get Willie and I, our little heads over here while we watch what's on screen, but baby steps. But Willie, absolutely brutal choice there.
I mean, I think. Listen, I don't like to offend. I don't like to offend NCAA wrestling. I like to be in good graces with the NCAA, and I like to. But I'm going to call it as I see it. To me, it's just lazy. Cleveland State dropped their program. They dropped the program the year before that the city of Cleveland is hosting the freaking NCAAs. I mean, Cleveland State is a mile and a half from where the NCAAs is happening. Maybe not even a mile and a half. They dropped the freaking program. Cleveland State fought hard. Josh Moore fought hard. The community fought hard. The media was all about it. And they still dropped it despite having an absolute abject disaster of not a freaking clue what they're doing administratively. I mean, make no mistake about it. Cleveland State was dropped because they're an administrative mess. They're an administrative mess in their athletic department. They're in an administrative mess in their entire faculty. They are millions and millions of dollars in debt. The wrestling was dropped not because wrestling doesn't make sense for Cleveland State. Cleveland is one of the hotbeds. Cleveland might be the best hotbed of high school wrestling in the planet, and you cannot find it in your faculties to make a program viable. That is a you problem. That is not an endemic situation. That is not, this sport doesn't work. That is not a economic reality. If other programs in other municipalities can make wrestling work, Cleveland can make wrestling work. So your administration, both in academics and athletics, it's so dysfunctional that you had to drop the program the year before NCAAs is to occur in your city. And yet you have the tone deafness. The NCAA has the tone deafness to use Cleveland State mats. I don't want to offend the NCAAs, but whoever made that call, what are you doing? You can't find another mat anywhere? Call up Brutus. Call up Kent State. Call up Michigan. Call up Michigan State. Call up Ohio State. Take freaking 5 minutes and $500 of extra money or whatever it might be to get a mat in there. You could get one from a local high school.
Yeah, I saw that.
You to do it.
That was sent to me this morning, and I just went, oof. So shared that out. Had to touch on it because that was just a brutal. Willie, I have a good little intro to our feel-good team, if you would like me to share.
I want so much feel-good fodder.
All right, so I'm going for a walk yesterday in my neighborhood down here in beautiful Florida, the Freedom State, the Sunshine State. And I'm walking just to clear my head, think, talk on the phone for a couple minutes. And all of a sudden, some nice woman walks out of her house and goes, "Are you Justin?" I go, "Yeah, how can I help you?" She goes, "Well, you picked Carter Schubert this morning over Lenny Pinto in the first round." And I go, well, I did the real life Adam Sandler meme where I'm like, she's like, "My son doesn't miss a show. We were watching it. We're heading to Cleveland tomorrow. I can't believe you picked." And I said, "Well, you really like Lenny, huh?" She goes, "He's my godson. How can you pick Carter over Lenny?" And I said, "Well, I might have to make an official swap. I might have to pick Lenny in the first round because, to just stumble into a fan a couple houses down on the same street and I got to support. And I tried FaceTiming Willie. He didn't answer. The guy was wearing a Huskers Pinto shirt, and he said, "No, you can't take a video because it's a Huskers Pinto shirt." I said, "Listen, Willie's a Husker fan. He would love this. He'd eat it up." But Willie didn't answer.
You got real life heat.
I got real life heat, and so I said nobody is rooting more for Lenny Pinto than Willie, and I said make sure you tune into tomorrow's show because we're going to do our all feel good team, and this is like Willie said. Jason Bryant, you should reply to everyone with, "Oh, he's my cousin," when you pick against them. I should.
I find it's hilarious that because that happened like hours after the show, like not like days. That like we did the show yesterday, and you said you're taking Schubert when we're going through the brackets, and you immediately went out to walk the dog and immediately got heat, which I think is funny. I think it's additionally funny that you just moved to Florida and you like immediately run into wrestling people.
You gotta love it. It's the best. This sport is so awesome. It's funny however many people listen to this show, and then you got somebody 4 houses down that's like, "Listen, I heard what you picked this morning," and all of a sudden, whoa, hey, that's just what I do behind the computer. What do you mean? That stays digital.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a nice little segue to this.
Well, it's a little different too, a little interesting too that it's in Tampa. I mean, Tampa has good wrestling outside. Brandon, Florida is traditionally really good, but it's not like the super hot, but it's not where you expect to run into wrestling people. Look, I'm fortunate enough, and not fortunate enough. It's just that's how I got into it. Wrestling's so big where I am. That's why I'm passionate about wrestling. I mean, this is a wrestling mecca. So when I go out, like, literally every time I go to this Sheets up here, the guy behind the counter, "Hey, what do you think? How do you think Labriola is going to do? Hey, what do you think Sasso? Hey, Willie, how's it going? You going to Cleveland this week? You going, you going here? You going there? How's Sasso doing?" I go to Wegmans and I run into somebody. "Hey, how's it going? Did you see that duel last week, man?" Yeah. It was, so here it's expected. Tampa, I wouldn't expect to run into wrestling folks in Tampa.
I love it. So all that to say, we are going to go through our all feel good team. These are guys that's just, man, this would feel good if they won. Willie likes to say he's not rooting for anyone. I'm rooting for these guys. I'm rooting for them to have great tournaments. I'm rooting for them to complete.
Rooting is human nature. Rooting, I am not poo-pooing on the notion of rooting. I think it's natural. I think it's fun. That's why we watch. That's why people watch. I'm just saying, after doing this, I don't know if it's because I did it so long. I don't know if it's because I know and like so many people. It's hard to root for a guy when contestant A and contestant B, you both...
No, I get it.
No, you both know. I'm not saying it's wrong to root. I'm just saying most of the time, 99% of the time, I'm happy for the winner. I'm sad for the loser. I don't really root. Sometimes I do. On occasion, I'm like, yeah, I really hope this guy wins. All
right, we've set the damn backstory enough. Let's dive into our feel good, our all 2026 feel good team. We'll alternate first picks. I think some of them, not picks, but like just who we think, because we have some similar. Who is your 125-pound all feel good team member?
Well, let me just a little bit of context here. Most of my picks for the all feel good team, and I think we should do this every year because it's pretty fun. Most of my picks for the all feel good team, 99% of them are seniors, and because to me it's hard to pick a freshman or a sophomore, which I did on once or twice. But it's hard for me to say, oh, I want this kid to do something when they have two, three more shots, right? To me, it's a lot of the sympathy, a lot of the empathy
Just so you
goes to the
know,
guy.
yeah, you
Who's
can't say
their last
95,
goal.
99%, by the way, when there's 10 weights and one
You know what I'm saying?
one is at least
Well,
a
I just
freshman.
multiple. Sometimes I have multiple guys out of weight. All right, 125. My feel good. I would like to see do well. Maximo Renteria, um, four-time. I think he was a four-time Cali State champ. If he wasn't a four-time Cali State champ, he was three and lost one to COVID. Um, Something like that. One of those two. But he was a legend. Buchanan High School. Um, Started at Illinois. Terrific lightweight prospect. Things didn't quite work out there. He goes to Oregon State. Typical, like, started his first, second, third year of college kid. I sort of had to get back into it and rededicate himself, and he's had two really good years. Last year, great year. This year, even better. And so it's a loaded weight. It's a weight with a lot of 1-point matches and one exchange matches, and I just like to see him go out with a good final year.
Yeah. And I got kind of this guy or that guy at some of these weights. My guys at 125 are both Luke Lillidahl and Nico Provo. And we don't have that many like favorites, or even I think Luke might be the only like favorite going into it, or the only number one seed. But I just Luke is such a nice kid. I'm rooting for him. And after that third place match, or that losing that semi last year, bouncing back for third, and just like I've been rooting for Luke. I like that kid. So it's either Luke or Nico Provo is also, I feel like, on the feel good team. He's had these injuries. He was, what's he now, 3-time qualifier, I want to say. He was round of 16 in 2024, injured last year. He's coming back. He's been right in the mix. He beat the returning national champ 2 times this year, Vincent Robinson. Lost an overtime match to Eddie Van Treska in the ACC finals. So I think Eddie Van Treska is, or I think Nico Provo is up on my all-feel-good team. Him and Luke, both of them, I think.
I only listed, they're both great choices. I only listed Maximo, but I also would say Klinsky. Now here looking at the brackets again, I like to see smaller programs. I like to see Ryder continue a string of All-Americans. Klinsky is a guy he redshirted. He redshirted after his junior year, and what we've seen is a lot of these guys late in their careers. They sort of have senioritis. They mail it in. Klinsky, not only from a small school, but also took his red shirt last year, comes back and looks as good as he's ever had. A little shout out to Klinsky too.
All
okay.
right.
And by the way, in the chat, post your feel goods at each way as we go through this.
I love the haters in the chat right now. Oh, Basch is gonna root for Penn State at every way. Ooh, wah. Guys, Luke's a great kid. I'm rooting for him. He's on my all-feel-good team. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I have to apologize for nothing. All right, 133 pounds.
All right, 133, your pick first.
My pick is Drake Ayala. He's, you talk about seniors, and I understand he's been to the finals, but you talk about seniors, you talk about good kids. I'm a big Drake Ayala fan, and if you listen to when he came on this podcast back in April, it's a great conversation. It's hard not to root for Drake. And I feel like when you have somebody like Drake who's in the finals 2 years in a row, and right now it's like the talk is all the freshmen at 133, and rightfully so. They've kind of earned that right to the conversation being around them. But man, it's like you can't tell me it wouldn't be a feel-good story of the year if Drake ran the gauntlet, beat the freshman, and wins the 133-pound title. That could be one of the greatest storylines of the year, especially after he started off rocky. So my 133-pound all-feel-good team member, Drake Ayala.
Yeah, I can certainly. First of all, Drake's my dude. Drake's my dude. His dad, Sam, is one of my favorites. Um, I hung out with Drake a bunch. I sat in a suite with Drake just a couple weeks ago at the Iowa State tournament. I understand where you're coming with Drake, but I feel like Drake. I mean, that dude already made 2 finals. It'd be awesome to see him win the whole thing, but anything short of that, he's already did it.
But you're wrong, because here's the big thing. In having hundreds of wrestlers on this podcast, I can tell you the difference that they feel in losing their last match versus winning. I would much rather Drake go out winning 3rd or 5th than making to the finals 3 times. Because losing in the finals, losing your final match of the year stings more. It feels like these kids would rather have win a bronze, win a 3rd place over. Because I don't think, like, going to the finals, nobody dreams as a kid of, I just want to get to the finals. So I'd almost rather Drake just win whatever his final match is. If it's the finals, if it's 3rd place, I want him to go out with a win.
But yeah. I'm just saying, in a sea of guys who, like, I don't know, like Maximo never reached the podium, right?
All right, give me your 133-pound pick.
All right, my 133-pound pick is sort of an odd one. It doesn't go really along with the rationale for, like, most of the other weights that I picked. But my 133-pound pick is Aaron Seidel. And I didn't see a whole lot of other guys at 133 to pick that I would feel like they have something. They're at the end of their careers and this and that. And I didn't see a whole lot of other options. Maybe Garrett Grice. Garrett Grice would be interesting. He from Nebraska, went to UVA, goes to Iowa State, gets the call only because Evan Frost is hurt. And it would be nice to see, be a feel-good story if he had a run. He wasn't even the starter.
Chat is pointing out Will Betancourt, feel-good, friend of the show. Absolutely. Always rooting for our friends of the show.
But my pick is Aaron Seidel, and here's why. I think the Jax Forrest match showed that he's right there with a lot of these top guys. And I feel like everybody's talking about. I feel like he's the 5th wheel. I like the forgotten part of this. Everybody talks about Marcus Plays. Everybody talks about Davino. Everybody talks about Jax Forrest, and Aaron Seidel is also often like the other guy. And even dating back to high school, oh my God, Ben Davino. Oh my God, Marcus Blaze, never give up a takedown. Oh my God, Jax Forrest is a wizard. Seidel's in that group. I mean, he was a 3-time state champ going for his 4th, and he happened to be in a weight with Jax Forrest. Aaron Seidel won Super 32. He's been in the finals. Aaron Seidel, I just feel like gets overshadowed by these guys.
Yeah.
And maybe a feel-good story would be for him to win one and say, hey guys, how about me? I'm not just a part of this group. I'm way up there.
Yeah.
Right, my pick.
Hold on. Austin Summer is right in the chat. He said Max Leet, who's legally blind. Pretty cool story there. I agree. That would be a great addition. He wrestles for American. Super cool story. What grade is he? Is he a grad senior, I want to say? Let me see.
Not sure. He's a New England boy, Massachusetts kid.
Yeah, he's a 5th year.
Yeah, that's a good story too. Maybe root for him a little bit. My choice, we're going 141. I start 141. Nothing shocking here, like nothing crazy, but Wyatt Henson, I think I would like to see him have a good tournament. Lock Haven guy, 3-time MAC champ, over 100 wins. Guy wrestles a lot. Um, and just an ultimate warrior, ultimate fighter. Doesn't get a lot of fanfare, but always in the lineup, always competitive. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing him have a really good tournament. And then the other one is Vince Cornella. Cornella is a guy that always showed flashes. You know, I think his freshman year, he had a lot of buzz going in the NCAAs, and I think he got pinned in some weird way, and with a lead, and then didn't AA, and then he has some injury stuff, and I just feel like Vince Cornella, now the 6th seed, has had a lot of buzz previously. It'd be nice to have him have a good tournament.
All right, I got a couple of different options here at 41. Luke Stanich, I think coming off injury, coming off the freestyle success, shortened season because of coming off of injury. He's undefeated on the year, and I know he has a low match count, but when you talk about Aaron Seidel and kind of being the fifth wheel at 33, Sergio Vega is all the rage at 41, rightfully so. And Luke Stanich looks awesome. He's exciting to watch. He wins those matches late with ice in his veins. So I think Luke Stanich is there. I think Braden Davis is up there. And I know the Boo Birds are going to come out in the chat about Penn State, but for Braden Davis to come off a red shirt because Nagao got hurt and he has to step up and fill in for his team, kind of unprepared to go this season. And then he catches a lot of heat from both Penn State fans, from non-Penn State fans. I think Braden Davis getting to the podium would be awesome. We talk all year about Gabe Arnold and Gabe Arnold being a team player. And, man, Braden Davis, again, planning to redshirt, coming out of redshirt midseason and stepping up for his team. Yeah, I think that's a good pick too.
Dude, did you see if you guys haven't heard, Braden Davis earlier this season was injured in an e-scooter. He was riding an electric scooter. Okay. And he got injured. Last week, it was announced that Penn State, the university, is banning e-scooters on campus, which started a hilarious thread on the Penn State boards. Like, dang, Kale got a lot of pull, and oh my God, that's how much the university loves wrestling. But it was funny. Okay, so that's your 41. I like Stanich. I don't, Stanich has still 2 more years left. I think he's gonna podium this year. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I like your picks. 149. Go with your 149. Your pick to start.
149. I'm going with a non-Penn State team here. I'm going with Utah Valley. I'm hoping David I want to see David Evans get on the podium. David Evans spent 5 years at Penn State, transferred to Utah Valley, kind of took the same path Bear Claw took. Stuck out his time as a backup in State College, was an ultimate team player, transferred out as a grad senior. He's 20-5 on the year. I'd love to see UVU's David Evans get on the podium. He is my feel-good, all feel-good team member at 149 pounds. You talk about seniors wanting to get it done. Here's David Evans, 6th year.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, that would be a good story. I have David Evans right on the bubble to place. My picks at 149, Carter Young, just an incredible young man. A lot of ups and downs in his career. He's a senior. I would just really like for him to have a good tournament, maybe get on the podium. This is a kid that at 60, first of all, he committed to his dream school was Northwestern. I mean, his dream school was Oklahoma State. It didn't really seem like They went hard after him. Um, so he sort of went the academic route and committed to Northwestern. Then right before graduating high school, he had that tremendous world team trials where he beat like three national champions in a row. He beat three. It was the most incredible freaking run from a high schooler that I can remember. He beat three national titleists in one tournament. I think it was like, I don't know, Nashon Garrett and I forget who it was. Stevan Micic. No, not Micic. Anyway, he beat three gangster 61 kilogram guys, and then Oklahoma State came knocking and said, "Hey, buddy, you got to be a Cowboy." So he goes to Oklahoma State. Little ups and downs there. Ultimately, uh, ultimately transfers out and goes to Maryland. And here's another thing, not to get too much emotional or say too much information, but his mother was in a bad car accident in the past. Um, and just she was a great lady. His dad's a great guy. Um, he's had a lot going on, and to leave Oklahoma State, uh, which is his hometown school, and go to another school, maybe because he wasn't sure if he would get in the lineup, and then he leaves Okie State, he goes to Maryland, and he's actually uh, ranked higher at one point for a long point of the year. He's ranked higher than Oklahoma State starter. And I just think it's a wonderful story. I'd really like to see
I
him.
agree.
I'd really like to see him. So I got Carter Young as my feel good at 49, and maybe also Joey Zargo. Joey Zargo has knocked off a lot of great kids, even back in his high school days. He's been up and down. He's absolute motor guy, hard work, as much work ethic as you can possibly get. Great family. Um, and as incredible as it is, never placed in high school, never placed in the state tournament, never placed now at NCAAs, and he's a top 10-ish guy. And so Carter Young, Joey Zargo, my picks at 149.
I love it. Good picks. Good picks. You want me to start with 157?
Yeah.
All right, I got two at 157. Brandon Cannon, he's been injured this year because of knee issues, but even before then, he's had some really serious health issues in the past. And for Brandon Cannon to get back to this, he had I believe it was a pretty rare aggressive tumor. Do you remember what year that was, Willie? How old he was?
I think he was a freshman or a sophomore at Wyoming Seminary. Freshman or sophomore in high school, because I think he won Beast of the East that year as like a 6-pounder, a 13-pounder.
Yeah. So it was early, and it's like Brandon Cannon. It's kind of cool that his wrestling is so good that his conversation this year is, he was ranked number 1, and then he missed some time due to injury. We want to see Cannon in 2. Can you not hear me? Let me see.
I got it.
Okay. So I think Brandon Cannon's health issues and how he's overcome all that and gotten to where he is to be in this contending race at 157. And then I'll also go Jude Swisher. Jude Swisher, I don't think he was on too many people's radar as far as being a top dog. He's now a 3-time qualifier as a junior. He was I think it was Blood Round last year. And he's 20-3 on the year. He lost to Zepeda at NC State before Zepeda got injured and he was out. And he lost to Meyer before he beat Meyer. And Jude's just an awesome kid. He's been around. He's one of those kids that is been around the sport in so many different things. Even having his podcast with Sam Herring for a while when they were young, and everybody was loving that. And he's kind of transitioned to just focus on his wrestling. So I think it'd be cool for Jude. Definitely think that'd be a good all feel good team member.
Yeah, Jude's my pick at 157. Doesn't get the shine. I mean, look at the top dogs at 57. PJ Duke, Antrell Taylor, Meyer Shapiro, Caleb Larkin. These are, I mean, Jude Swisher doesn't quite fit in cachet wise with these names, and yet he's the sixth seed. He just beat Meyer Shapiro. Just a really good. He was an M2 kid, State College, Belfont, right from outside of State College, um, and just wasn't a guy that you thought like he was good, but he wasn't like a talent guy. He was like a works hard, improves at his craft kind of guy. And now he's a top 8 seed, just knocked off Meyer Shapiro. And yeah, Jude's my pick at 57. Let's go to 65. I'll start with it. I'm going Max Brignola. Max Brignola out of Lehigh, a senior. He's the 8 seed. I'm going to say 18 months ago, nobody knew who this guy was. Um, Jersey kid, not a lot of fanfare. Another like Klinsky, he redshirts his going into his senior year, and he just wrestled in open tournaments, and it was like Max Brignola, like he was posting wins and wins and wins, and you're like, what the hell got into Max Brignola? Let me tell you who he beat last year. And it was like, what is going on? Like, this doesn't map. This doesn't make sense. Last year he beat Louis Sergio, Caesar Alvin, who's the Ivy League champ this year, Tyler Lillard. He was undefeated. He beat Julian Ramirez 9-5. He beat Nico Ruiz. He beat Ethan Burden. He beat Brock Mantanona. I mean, that was a hell of a year. After a year in which, he wrestled 157 and went 0-2 at NCAAs. And so an unheralded kid wrestling his best at the end. So I got Brignola as my feel good. Maybe, and my backup here is Andrew Sparks. Just started wrestling in 8th, 9th, 10th grade in California. Ended up beating Cale Valencia, who at the time was a very highly ranked wrestler in the country. Beats him for a state title. Goes to Minnesota. Minnesota picks him up real late. Goes to Minnesota. He's been a 3-time qualifier. He went 1-2 at NCAAs every year. And he's another guy I sort of have on the bubble, blood roundish for NCAAs this year. And it would just, it'd be nice to see him cap off his career getting on with a good tournament.
Yeah, I don't hate those picks at all. I got 2 here. Number 1 is sometimes you got to give the armed forces a little love. And when you have a name like Gunnar Flipowitz, how are you not rooting for a kid named Gunnar Flipowitz? Armed forces in the Army, Gunnar Flipowitz. I would love to see Army get on the podium. Who better than Gunnar Flipowitz? And Willie, you kind of put some shine on. Who is it that you on Ryder? How about a Little Rock love? Matty Bianchi. Yeah. Matty Bianchi would be my other guy here. He's had a great year. He's 18-2. His only loss was to D. Lockett before he had that kind of weird loss, I think, to Anthony Berg at the Pac-12 finals. So I think Matty Bianchi here, again, when you have a weight like 65 and you have the storyline is Mesenbrink next topic, Mesenbrink or Mendez for the Hodge, you have Caliendo Blaze, you have D. Lockett, the freshman in there, you have Ruiz got the big win over D, and here you have Matty Bianchi with an 18-2 record heading into NCAAs. I think it would be cool for Little Rock, especially after Little Rock lost Jordan Williams. They lost Nasir Bailey. They produced these AAs, and then they were scooped up by the Hawkeyes. And I think it would be cool to see Little Rock continue to get All-Americans. I think that would be a good one for him.
Yeah. 174. Our picks are the same. This is, only a few spots where our picks are. It's the only spot where we only listed one guy, and it's the same guy, and it's Alex Facundo.
I agree with
Alex
you, Willie.
Facundo,
I like it.
a very highly touted recruit coming out of high school. I think I had him number 2 on my big board, and he's been really, really good. He's just not been great. Uh, he's a one takedown match with every single person he goes out and faces, and so he's one of my favorite kids, even ever since high school. Good dad's awesome, and it would really be nice to see Alex Facundo get over the hump, notch a good win instead of losing 4-3, come up with or 4-1, come up with that scramble, win that scramble, and get on the podium. I think it's an obvious pick, but I think it's the right one.
Yeah, I think so too. I think especially when he's taking a lot of heat from Cowboys fans, he's taking a lot of heat from Penn State. Not a lot of Penn State fans, but some Penn State fans for leaving State College. So I think it'd be great for Facundo to end the year on the podium. I think you actually had him before I even picked him, and I just said, "Yup." Looking through, I like Facundo here. All right,
Yeah, yeah.
184 pounds. Number one, I'll start here because I'm adding Lenny Pinto. Okay, if you stop me on a walk in my neighborhood and question and give me heat for making a pick, I love it. I love it. I'm now rooting for Lenny Pinto. I'm rooting for that wonderful family. And you know what? I'm going to sprinkle in a little Zach Ryder here for the haters in the chat to just say I'm only going to pick all 10 Penn State kids. I'm going to go with a Cowboy, former Penn State, Zach Ryder. I feel bad how this year is playing out because his shoulder is just not keeping up with him. So I'm going Lenny Pinto and Zach Ryder, all feel-good team, starter and backup at 184 pounds.
Yeah, I'm going James Conway here again, a senior. Was not even close to a big time recruit, and it's just development, work ethic, and I'm not saying he's a tryhard because he has a lot of talent. I'm saying he was dedicated to improvement, and he went from an unheralded, completely off the radar recruit, qualified for NCAAs one time, went 1-2, lost to Jaquan Anderson from Gardner Webb, redshirted and comes back with a vengeance. He's had a terrific year, 31-2, a great CKLV performance. Franklin and Marshall, James Conway to me is
Good
a
pick.
great story.
Yep.
Great story. 197. We have a little bit of similarities here. I went with Rocky Elam, and you might be thinking, well, why are you going with somebody? A lot of these guys, most of the guys you picked are guys to get over the hump, to have one last hurrah, to finally get on the podium. Why are you picking Rocky, who's a multiple-time All-American, who's made world teams, won world medals? Rocky's overcame a lot of injuries. He's a monster to 197. He pulls a lot of weight, and he to me has been one of the most talented. I was in high school. I was raving about him. Out of Missouri, didn't get the shine that I think elite blue chips typically get, and he really hit his marks and proved that right. For him to win a national title this year, I think would be a feel-good story. Get it done in your 5th or 6th year.
Yeah, I agree. And I have Rocky on there. I'm a big Rocky fan. I also would add Gabe Arnold. Gabe Arnold, again, competing in Iowa for 3 different weights this year. And 97, I would say, is probably the hardest weight for him because he's giving up the most weight. So I would love to see Gabe Arnold get on that podium. The year he's had, similar to what I said for Braden Davis, and I know the trolls in the chat didn't like that pick and they think it's just Penn State, but it's the same logic for Gabe Arnold. Gabe has been a team player all year. He's had a winning record at 3 different weights.
He was kicked off. He was kicked off in the summer.
Yeah, he was kicked off last year, came back, stuck around, and then to have the ultimate 180 from being kicked off to competing for your team at 3 different weights, man, Gabe Arnold getting
do whatever the team asks you to do.
Gabe Arnold AA would be awesome.
Well, again, to me, only 8 guys can get on the podium, and it's not, to me, it's not even about AA, and it's have a good tournament, go out on a high note, just root for a degree of success, or not root for, but to see them have a degree of success in whatever way that may be. All-American would be great, national champ would be great, but for any of these guys to have a great tournament. Let's go 285, and this was one weight. Some weights you had to like kind of search for a feel good story, or like some didn't make sense. This one, I felt like there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys to include in this bucket, and oddly enough, a lot of them are at the top. For me, I picked 3 top guys: Younger, Trumbull, Tay Gadiali. Younger comes from Cuba. Not a lot of people know who he is. Comes here, assimilates. And when I say assimilates, I mean to America and to folk style, because he was a pure freestyle guy. He had to learn how to mat wrestle, and he's done an awesome job. Incredible athlete. And to get the monkey off his back from 2 years ago, when, I mean, this guy, no offense, but like he ragdolled some really good guys. I mean, go back and watch his takedown of Lucas Davidson, perennial All-American Lucas Davidson. He lifts him up off the mat. He kind of ragdolls him. He beat Wyatt Hendrickson. He beat freaking Wyatt Hendrickson that year. And then he goes to NCAAs, and he does not have a good tournament. Doesn't even AA. So, for Younger, I think a feel-good story would be for him to have a really good NCAA tournament. Isaac Trumbull. Isaac Trumbull was a good recruit, but one that got massively overlooked. And he's had a terrific career, started at 197 as well, up to heavyweight, and he's a title contender. He's a true title contender, number 2 seed. And so that would be a really good story. And Tay going from an unheralded recruit, wasn't even on my big board, to Campbell, where he really develop, improve, stick with your craft, to Michigan, and now he's a title contender. He went from non-big board to title contender. So I think 3 great stories there.
Yeah, Tay is definitely on mine as well. I think Tay's background too. His former coach Scotty Sentis at Campbell was sharing some color on his background, and it's incredible. I want to have him on the podcast after the season. His background, his story is just incredible. So I think Tay having a great tournament, whether that's winning it, whether that's just high AA, whatever, but I agree. I think Tay would be an awesome one. Christian Carroll, also on my list. I think, Christian Carroll was very high in the big board. Do you remember what he was offhand on your final big board? He was up there, right?
Christian Carroll might have been number 1. If I moved him from number 1, it was because of off the mat stuff, and I'll look it up.
So he bounced around. He was committed to. He was
number
matches.
2. He was number 2. 2023 big board was Meyer, Christian Carroll, Rocco Welsh, Josh Barr, Braden Thompson, Ben Keeter, Bo Mantanona, Cale Hughes, Tyler Kasich, Cannon Webster.
So, here he was a very, very high level recruit, was at Oklahoma State, then left, went to Iowa State, then left. Now he's kind of gotten his footing at Wyoming. And, it's so funny because when somebody bounces around a little bit like he has, and then as soon as, he has some good matches this year, and he beat Cody Merrill in overtime. He beat Cole Marisola. He had a close loss. He had Younger beat. And it was kind of his match to lose towards the end of the year. He major Tay Kadali early in the year. He's had an awesome year. And then as soon as he's like sick at Big 12s and loses 2 matches there, the Boo Birds come out and see, here you go. You can't finish the season. So I think Christian Carroll getting on the podium and having a solid finish this season would be awesome. And then, for the Boo Birds in the chat, Cole Marisola, all the haters that he's not big enough, he's not strong enough, he can't go with the heavyweights. I'd love to see Cole have a great tournament here. I got him AAing. I think he's going to AA. So Keith is the number Keith is the number 1 AJ Ferrari fan. I'm convinced. Keith is the number
That's
1.
our all feel good team. 125, Maximo Renteria, Nico Provo, Luke Lillodahl. 133, Aaron Seidel, Drake Ayala, Max Lee. 141, Wyatt Henson, Vince Cornella, Luke Stanich, Braden Davis, Pearson Manville. 149, all feel good team. Carter Young, Joey Zargo, David Evans. 157, Jude Swisher, Brandon Cannon. 165, Max Brignola, Andrew Sparks, Gunnar Filipowicz, Matt Bianchi. 174, Alex Facundo. 184, James Conway, Lenny Pinto. 197, Rocky Elam, Gabe Arnold. 285, Younger Bastida, Isaac Trumbull, Tay Gadiali, Christian Carroll, Cole Marisola. We picked the whole bracket.
I was just going to say 285. There's a lot of feel-good stories there. I feel like 285,
yeah.
coming away from NCAA's, regardless of what happens with some of these, 57 and 84 and 33, and apart from that, it's setting up that 285 is going to be a feel-good story.
Yeah.
Sure, setting up that.
All right, that was fun. I'm glad we did it. The human element, the personal element, and the feel-good stories at NCAAs this year. What do we want to go to next? We want to go to WrestleStat brackets. We want to go to DK odds. I got some strong feelings on DK odds.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking we do WrestleStat brackets because I believe tomorrow BetOnline is going to reduce round-by-round odds. And I'd love if we covered DK odds tomorrow, and also if BetOnline had first-round matchups, that would be a great Wednesday, day before. Here's our first-round picks if they're out by then. So why don't, for this show, we're an hour in, let's cover WrestleStats brackets.
All right, WrestleStats brackets. If you don't know, most of the people in the chat know, WrestleStat is an awesome, awesome resource for results, and they also use this ELO algorithm situation to rank wrestlers, and it's very good in a lot of spots. It's very weird in a lot of spots, but it's excellent to follow. So
the chat, by the way, the chat is giving you you are the chat's feel good story. Willie is my feel good story, injured and still working his ass off.
Yeah, and I'm through it, guys. The pain is largely gone. I don't know if this sounds corny, but I'm a little proud of myself for getting through it without the painkillers. I just hear horror stories about people getting addicted to Oxycontin and oxycodone, whatever it's called. I just hear horror stories, and I don't want to touch the stuff. And everybody told me just take them, you'll be fine. Taking them once or twice is not a bad. 1 or 2 days is not a bad thing. And it was brutal for the 2 days after. It was unbearable, but I made it through it, and I didn't touch it. But anyway.
Shout out Willie.
So WrestleStat does not have this public facing, but we asked them, do you have mechanism by which you can run through the brackets and make your picks. And they gave us the whole thing, front side, back side. Here it is. Here's what our system spit out. And good, bad, and otherwise. There's some really weird stuff in there, but to me it's really fascinating. And some of it's head scratching, but it's to me it's awesome. It's fascinating and good content, and it's just flat out fun to look through. So let's go 125. 125 WrestleStats All Americans they have Bouzakis winning the title over Luke Lillidahl, Vince Robinson third. That's what I have, Vince Robinson as well. Eddie Ventresca 4, Troy Spratley 5, Dean Peterson 6, coming from the 8 seed, Jory Volk to 7, Mark Anthony McGowan taking 8th from the 10 seed. And the interesting thing to me is, what I don't quite understand is, WrestleStat will have a guy ranked 5th, and it's based on nothing but objective data, but they'll have that guy that's 5th losing to a guy that's 12th, which is also based on nothing but objective data. But so if all your objective data says this is the 5th best guy, and all your objective data says this is the 12th best guy, and they don't have any head-to-heads, how does your objective data say 12 over 5? I don't know, but it's fun. Some of the interesting matches here. This weight at 125 isn't a whole it's not as crazy as some of the other weights. Watch when we get to 33, really crazy. What's some of the interesting ones here? Not much. They got 1, 2, 3 seeds making the semis. That's Lillidahl, Ventresca, Bouzakis. And then they have Vince Robinson beating Troy Spratley and Sheldon Seymour, which is what I have. That's a 12 over 5 and a 12 over 4. And he's the returning national champ. And he has head-to-head wins. This is a 12, I understand, beating other guys. Because he's beaten Spratley before. He beat Seymour last year. So this one maps to me.
Yeah, I think one of the big differences with what WrestleStats data is showing from, let's say, your crystal ball or mine, even though it's minor, is they got Lillidahl making it through the blood round in AAing, which is great for Iowa. Vincent Robinson in third, taking out Spratley.
Yep. Yeah, well, we'll get into this team scores at the end, and it becomes pretty obvious what the WrestleStat system either likes in teams or what they like in paths.
Yeah,
133.
And real quick, kind of a spoiler alert to the team side, the fact that they have Dean All-Americaning at 125, part of why I say that is when you get to their team scores, they have Iowa outperforming Ohio State.
Yeah. 133, here it gets a little funky. Their All-Americans are Bird as a national champ over Forrest, Marcus Blaze, Drake Ayala, Garrett Grice, the 28 seed. They have 5th. Aaron Seidel, the 6th. Ben Davino, the 7th. Kyler Larkin taking 8th. And they got Garrett Grice over Aaron Seidel on the front side and the back side. They got Garrett Grice beating Larkin first round. Evan McGoolian from Penn, the 12 seed, in the second round. Then Aaron Seidel in the quarterfinals. They got Bird beating both Davino and Blaze on the front side. And just that's craziness. I don't know what to make of it, but it's fun. How do you get Garrett Grice beating Larkin and Aaron Seidel? Bash, you there? You crazy cat? No? I think we lost Bash. Did we lose Bash?
I'm back. Sorry.
Oh, we got him.
I'm back.
But Garrett Grice from the 28th to taking 5th. It's fun. And you know what? Here's the thing. I don't think Garrett Grace is going to take fifth, but uh, I bet WrestleStat has some swings and some misses, and I bet you they
I,
have some home runs.
I was just gonna say, I would love to see their brackets in ours too. Honestly, fill out the brackets with like green and red. Like it gets hard because if you don't pick a guy in the first round and then he keeps winning, but to kind of see their All Americans, like what's WrestleStats All Americans versus all our All Americans? Because it's very easy with some of these. Like you see Garrett Grace with a limited body of work beating Aaron Seidel, and it doesn't pass the eyeball test. Same with Bird beating Blaze. But it is interesting to see how this plays out when you just take out eyeball test, take out any subjectivity, bias, whatever, and see what they got.
They got Van D losing to Gage Walker. Interesting. They got Tyler Knox going 1-2, losing to Zan in the second round wrestlebacks. 141, Jesse Mendez, Brock Hardy, Luke Stanich taking third, Sergio Vega taking fourth, Anthony Echemendia fifth, Vince Cornella the sixth, Nasir Bailey the seven, Joey Olivieri the nine. So this one, they really went, well, I shouldn't say they went chalk. The math went chalk. The 8 All-Americans are all in the top 9 seeds. The only top 8 that they don't have on is Vance Vombauer, who they have losing to Joey Olivieri, which is an 8-9 match. So,
which, you know, it's crazy. Look at what I got right here. Joey over Vance. Yeah. I got the same thing. It literally in the blood round, about 5:32. I got Joey beating Vance. Nope, yeah, I lied. I lied. I got Braden Davis beating Vance. I lied. I got him beating Vince Cornella. I lied.
8-9 match, so it's not. It's a toss up, and so it's crazy that 133 was complete chaos and 141's almost complete chalk. 149, Shane Van Ness is their champ. Jackson Joy, that's the 1 and 2 seeds. Lachlan McNeil, 11. I told you, as an 11 seed, he's my pick to go on a run from a deep seed, and WrestleStats sort of agreed. They have him third. Cross Wizlewski the 4. Casey Swiderski the 5. Coy Biskins the 6. Colin Guy the 7. Aiden Valencia taking 8th. So they got 2 guys outside, 2 guys in double digits. Aiden Valencia the 10. Lachlan McNeil the 11. Both AAing.
The crazy thing, Willie, the crazy thing is WrestleStat has exactly my quarters, semis, and finals.
Yeah, the single-digit seeds, they do not have placing. They have Caleb Tyus, the 6, losing to Casey Swiderski in the blood round. They have David Evans losing to Cross Wizlewski in the blood round. So, they also have – wait, how is this possible?
They also have Ryder Block losing to Colin Guy. I got Ryder Block winning that match. I do have Swiderski underneath that. I do have Aiden Valencia under that. But I have David Evans beating Cross. But pretty crazy how similar their bracket is to my bracket.
Yeah, they have Styles. Here's a big one from Ohio State. They have Styles losing in the Conti round of 16 to Ryder Block.
So do I.
I think I do too. Or maybe I have Styles. No, I have Styles in a different place in the backside because I have Styles beating Valencia. But this is the problem. If you're an Ohio State fan, this is the problem with some of your paths. Styles has a very difficult path. He has Aiden Valencia, which is a tough matchup in round 2. And then if he loses that match, he has Ryder Block, who he's been in nip and tuck matches with in the Conti round of 16. 157. WrestleStat has Meyer Shapiro as your national champ over PJ Duke. Ty Waters, the 11 seed. Another 11 seed taking third. Cannon Webster, taking 4th. Daniel Cardenas taking 5th. Landon Robideau 6th. Antrell Taylor 7th. And Caleb Larkin the 8th. And I would say I don't see Meyer Shapiro beating Duke. But other than that, 157 so good. I can't really argue with any of it.
Willie, real quick, the chat.
Yeah.
Daniel Collins in the chat. We did make a mistake. We made a mistake. We both put Lenny Pinto at 184 in our all feel good team instead of 174. Yeah. So
I didn't have Pinto, but
we read it as just Facundo at 74. It's Facundo and Lenny Pinto. And then I guess I don't have a pick at 184, so I will go with James Conway as well because I agree with your story there. So just a little housekeeping note.
CL415. Willie, spill the beans on the Iowa assistant job rumors.
Yeah, Willie, spill them.
So the message boards are Hawkeye message boards are,
which is Willie's favorite pastime.
I love message boards. They're life.
Specifically, the Hawkeye message boards is your favorite pastime.
Well, they are batshit crazy, and I love every second of that. I love them for it. But the Hawkeye message boards are convinced that Bobby Telford is stepping down at the end of the season, and there are 1 or 2 guys that are saying the next assistant, his replacement is basically done, and everybody's going to love it, and it checks all the boxes. And everybody that's been saying on the Hawkeye message boards, this is what we need, this is what they're getting. I think that's fake news, but let's save it till the end.
Jay Hill says, Willie, who is the worst matchup for Duke at 57? I think it's that my take is that it's Brandon Cannon Friday morning because it's off the scale. I think if he wins the quarters, I think, Thursday morning, I think Duke's fine. Thursday night, I think Duke's fine. That quarterfinal with Cannon is probably the biggest test, and then semis and finals at night would be better. So my take is quarters.
That's spot on. Duke makes the finals, nobody's touching him. He's going to be 175 pounds. Nobody's touching him. It's going to be – it would be off the scale. And off the scale day 1 don't matter because he's just too damn good. Off the scale day 2, he's going to have a tough opponent, whether it's Cardenas or Cannon. And, that if you're circling a spot – I am not – by the way, do not say that I'm saying – that PJ Duke is going to lose that match because
no, that's not the question. The question is what's his worst match.
I just don't want to get it twisted.
Yeah, no, Duke's my pick to win this over Meyer in the finals. If you're asking what the worst matchup is, it's the scale. So that's Friday morning because he wins the quarters, wins the semis. Like semis and the finals at night help Duke a lot. It's that quarter match, and you have a very very tough Brandon Cannon at that potentially in the corners.
Okay, continuing the 157 WrestleStat discussion. It's all they got Ty Waters in there at 11, but the composition of 157 you can't argue about it too much because these guys are all good. You could see this happening. Shapiro, I can't see Shapiro beating Duke, especially in the finals. But you just flop them, Duke, Shapiro. Waters, Webster, Cardenas, Robideau, Antrell. I wouldn't pick it this way, but I think you have the player. I think you have the right players there. So not much going on at 57. 165, Mesenbrink, Caliendo, Blaze, the 1, 2, and 3, or the 1, 3, and 2. Ryder Downey taking 4th from the 11. Dude, 11 seeds are hot in the streets this year. This is what – hold on. WrestleStat took an 11 at 149 to take 3rd. They took an 11 at 157 to take 3rd. They took an 11 at 165 to take 4th. Dude, 11s are hot in the streets this year, and I agree with all of them. I had Lachlan in the finals as an 11. I don't know what I had Waters, but I have Downey taking 5th as an 11. I have Tyler Klinsky AAing as an 11. 11's
11 is
good.
hot.
They got Will Denny on the podium taking 8th. Hey, you know what? I was talking with Corby and a couple guys, and bro, every year at NCAAs, do you know how many true freshmen place at NCAAs average?
Not a lot. Isn't it like 3 or
Like
4 or
one.
something? Yeah.
No, like 2.
Yeah.
There's years where there's 0. There's years where there's 0. A couple years ago, Caleb Henson and 2 others. There was 3. You know, that was wow. 3 true freshmen. That's big, bro. We could do a whole segment on this. This is going to shatter. This year is going to shatter true freshman AA totals. It's going to shatter. There will never be another year like it. This will eviscerate all true freshman AAs. Listen. Jax Forrest, Marcus Blaze, Aaron Seidel, D. Lockett, PJ Duke, Angelo Posada, Will Denny.
I didn't hear who you mentioned. Did you mention Seidel?
Yep. So there's three at 133 alone.
That's crazy.
Blaze, Seidel, Jax, nobody 65. D. Lockett, Will Denny. I'm missing some too. And that's not even counting. I don't count Kyler Larkin because he took a gray shirt. But this year is just there are 10 guys that you could see AA in. Now, will all of them get through? No. But if 6 of the 10 get through, that eviscerates the records. Okay, WrestleStat pretty reasonable at 165. 174, Levi Haynes, Chris Minto, PK at 3, Bo Mantanona, Simon Ruiz, Cam Steed, Matty Singleton. They have Garrett Thompson, the 24 seed, AAing. Garrett Thompson, listen, this is Garrett Thompson's road according to WrestleStat brackets. They have him losing. Wow, they have him losing to Bo Mantanona round 1 and then going on a run in which he beats Alex Facundo. They have Alex Facundo losing round 1 to whom? Desianti, who he almost lost to in the duel. But they have Thompson beating Alex Facundo, Miles Tackett, Danny Wask, Carson Karchla. What an epic run from Garrett Thompson. But that's pretty much the only.
And then he loses to Mantanona again. So Garrett loses to Mantanona, goes on the run, and then loses to Mantanona again, but then loses to Matty Singleton.
You know, there's an interesting thing, and I stick by it. I don't care. It seems nonsensical or hypocritical, contradictory. But there's often times where I pick one guy to win on the front side and that same guy to lose to the same guy on the backside. I think that's a thing. I did that with Nasir. I did that with Nasir and Vega.
Yep.
I did that with Nasir and Vega. I think that's a real thing, and I think there's some logic to it. 184. WrestleStat has Max Mickinelli, your national champ, at 184 pounds. He beats Rocco Welsh in the finals. Aiden Sinclair, the 3. Brock Mantanona, the 4. They have Angelo Ferrari, the 5. Silas Allred, 6. James Conway Eddie Nietenbach. They have the top 8 placing top 8. So as far as the contenders, they have pretty much chalk. Now they do have Angelo Ferrari in the backside, losing to Brock Mantanona in the Conci quarters. No, the Conci semis. And they do have James Conway in AA, and so you like to see that. 197. WrestleStat has Barr over Elam Little third. That's 1, 2, and 3 in order. Cody Merrill, the 7 seed, taking fourth. They have your boy Gabe Arnold, the 27 place in fifth.
I love it. I love it. I don't get it, but I love it. I mean,
so they have WrestleStat has the 28 seed Garrett Grice AA and the 24 seed Garrett Thompson AA and the 27 seed Gabe Arnold AA. And they have Bennett Berge at the 13 taking 6. Max Stout, Angelo Posada, one of those true freshmen, taking 8th.
What a run for Gabe Arnold. They have Gabe Arnold in the brackets beating Rademacher, Cam McDaniel, Stephen Little, all back-to-back to make the semis, where they then have him losing to Rocky Elam in the semis, and then losing to Cody Merrill, and then beating Bennett Berge for 5th place. You want to talk about feel-good, all feel-good team? That would be an all-feel-good team victory if Gabe Arnold gets in the podium, finishes 5th, beat with those wins in there. That would be incredible for him.
Yep. Okay, WrestleStat at heavyweight. They have the top 6, not in order, but pretty dang close. Younger Bastida, your champ. The number 3 seed, Tay Gadiali, your runner-up. AJ Ferrari, the 4, taking 3rd. Isaac Trumbull, the 2 seed, taking 4th. Nick Feldman, the 5, taking 5. Nathan Taylor, the 6, taking 6. 7, 8, they have Cole Marisola, the 9.
Yep.
And Dayton Pitzer, the 20. The 20 seed, taking 8th.
Cole over Pitzer for 7th.
Their blood round losers are Christian Carroll losing to Feldman after beating Zuba. Marisola beating Hopke. Dayton Pitzer beating Connor Doucette. And Nathan Taylor beating Ben Keeter.
Adam Feller's in the chat. Who hacked the WrestleStat algorithm?
I think it's neat. I love it. WrestleStat champs, Nick Bouzakis at 125, Lucas Bird at 33, Jesse Mendez at 41, Shane Van Ness, Meyer Shapiro, Mitchell Mesenbrink, Levi Haynes, Mac McAnally, Josh Barr, Younger Bastida. They took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 number 1s, 3 3s, and a 7.
Hit us with those team scores.
Hit with the team scores. Now, here's something interesting. They have Penn State. This is without bonus. They have Penn State 161. In second place, they have Oklahoma State. And I find this fascinating just in and of itself, and I find it fascinating how it conflicts with what I picked in Crystal Ball. So they have Penn State 1. They have Oklahoma State and Iowa 2 and 3. They have Oklahoma State and Iowa 2 and 3, and Iowa with 84.5 points, only 3.5 points back of Oklahoma State. They have Ohio State 4th with 73, way back, 13 points back from Oklahoma State. And they have Nebraska 5th. And I find that fascinating because I think that Oklahoma State's draws are not good, but WrestleStat liked them. I think that Iowa, I don't know how it came up with Iowa as the 3. Ohio State's draws I do not like, but they still got too much firepower to be 73. And Nebraska, who I have 3rd, they have 5th. They like Oklahoma State and Iowa. I cannot figure out how they like Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma State, they have Oklahoma State with almost as many points without bonus as I have Oklahoma State with bonus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that is WrestleStats projections.
So that's our all feel good team. That's WrestleStat predictions. That's a solid 90 minutes of NCAA fodder. And we will be back tomorrow to talk more storylines, to talk DraftKings betting odds. Hopefully by then, I'll try to get with Dave Mason today and see if the first round lines are going to be up today so we can discuss those on tomorrow's show. But we will be back tomorrow. Also, Willie, maybe we will talk some paths tomorrow. We haven't talked individual paths or team paths tomorrow.
Yeah. Paths for podium contenders.
Yeah. So
really fascinating because Penn State's Penn State, but you got a group. I'm gonna say it's 4. I don't think Iowa can get into that tier. Like they could, but I don't see it happening. But among the next 4, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Ohio State, and who am I missing? Oklahoma State, Ohio State, Nebraska. I guess Iowa's in that mix. I guess Virginia Tech's a little outside. Iowa State, I don't see with some of the situations that have happened there. But we're gonna go podium paths for podium teams with Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Iowa State, and Nebraska. We'll do that tomorrow to see. Some of the teams are really close. Like I think Oklahoma State probably is a touch better than Nebraska, but I don't like Oklahoma State's paths so much. So we'll do that analysis. We'll also do betting odds between DK and maybe what is it, Bet Online?
Yep.
And maybe some other nuggets between now and then. That'll be the show tomorrow. Oh, let's end with a little fodder, some fodder from Iowa, because they somebody asked in the chat but they've been clamoring for change. Let's have some change. And I'm not saying this happened. I did not hear this. This part I did not hear. This is just straight up Hawkeye report stuff, and it sounds confirmed from the people I talked to. It sounds confirmed. So, but this was not me coming up with this. This is not me breaking anything. On the Hawkeye message board, they said Bobby Telford is going to step down at the end of the year. Whether that's true, I do not know, but that's what they're saying. The people I talked to say, yes, that's true. I don't know. The next thing is now they're starting to say that his replacement is selected and it is a done deal. I do not believe that's true, but they are talking about Yanni. They're talking about Yanni. So I don't think that's true. From the people I've talked to, no. Now, it might be. It might be. I don't know. I'm just giving you the scuttlebutt. I don't believe it to be true.
Well, Yanni might come on this weekend. He's traveling to Cleveland, but
Thus starts the. I mean, that's a little premature off-season coaching carousel. Yeah, but that's the first.
Also,
that's the first little nugget.
Might have just messed up my audio. You guys let me know. I think I just messed up all the dials, but we should be good. All right, that's today's show. We will be back again for day 3 of NCAA week tomorrow. Make sure to like the stream. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to go to rockfin.com/MattScouts for Crystal Ball, for... Oh, Willie's got new team rankings out. Go check that out. rockfin.com/MattScouts. Yesterday he put up the final top 50, I believe. So, all right, we'll be back. Subscribe, like, comment. You guys rock. Go Bills.